This is the NBA on NBC. The 1997 NBA playoffs. Today, it's the New York Knicks versus the Miami Heat.
Let's get ready to rumble! There it is.
Come down to this, the seventh and final game of the Eastern Conference Semifinal Series. The winner will advance to the Eastern Conference Final to face the Chicago Bulls. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with Matt Gukas. First, the story on who is playing and who is not. Back from their one-game suspension, Patrick Ewing, Allan Houston, and Charlie Ward not available and serving their one-game suspensions today. Larry Johnson, John Starks, and P.J. Brown of Miami will sit out for the second straight game. And Matt, the Knicks looking for big games from their two leading scorers.
And New York has their inside-outside game back, and that improves their chances dramatically, especially with Patrick Ewing well-rested and hungry as ever, and he gives much-needed low-post presence, but he can't rely on just scoring. He has to dominate with his defense and rebounding as well. And Allan Houston has been red hot with the three-point shot, but he has to drive the ball to the basket, challenge the defense when he can. And being shorthanded, neither Patrick Ewing nor Allan Houston can afford an off day.
And Friday night in New York, the Miami Heat came up with a dramatic victory under difficult circumstances against an inspired New York Knicks team. They tied the series at 3 in doing so, and they did it by getting contributions from many sources. Miami Arena, Game 7. Over the course of NBA history in recent years, since 1982, the home team has won 23 of the last 25. And the Miami Heat would love to keep that going. The New York Knicks with other ideas. We're set for the introduction of the starting lineups. The public address voice of the Miami Arena, Michael Diamante.
And now let's see today's starting lineups. First for the visiting Knicks at forward, number 34-6'9" from Virginia Union, Charles Oakley. At forward, number 44-6'9" from Syracuse, John Wallace. At guard, number 163 from Boise State, Chris Childs. At guard, number 26'6" from Tennessee, Allan Houston. And at center, number 33, 7 foot from Georgetown, Patrick Ewing. The head coach of the Knicks is Jeff Van Gundy. At forward, number 24, 6'8" from Kentucky, Jamal Mashburn. At forward, number 9, 6'6" from Central Michigan, Thunder At guard, number 21, 6'4" from Minnesota, Vashawn. Guard, 6 foot from Utah, Tim Hardaway. And at center, number 33, 6'10" from Georgetown, Alonzo Mourning. The head coach of the Miami Heat is Pat Riley.
So, Dan Marley remains in the starting lineup for the suspended P.J. Brown. John Wallace gets his 6th start of the year for the suspended Larry Johnson. And today we have double coverage on the sidelines with reports from Ahmad Rashad and Jim Gray. Let's start with the mug.
All right, thanks, Marv. For every athlete, they have a defining moment. For Patrick Ewing, he's had quite a few, but he told me today, none as big as this game. He said his goal at the beginning of the season was to beat the Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals and go on to an NBA championship. He's so focused today, he said that there is no possible way that he's going to let Miami ruin that goal of winning an NBA championship. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Ahmad. Well, not that kind of confidence or bravado at all coming out of the Miami locker room. In fact, almost just the opposite. I spoke to Tim Hardaway. This is his first Game 7 ever. He told me he's very nervous. He's very anxious. He couldn't sleep at all last night. He said he hasn't had this type of butterflies since he was all the way back for the high school championship in Chicago back in 1985. I also spoke to Alonzo Mourning. He's nervous. He's anxious. He says he didn't even know these types of feelings that he's having existed. As for what Patrick Ewing said, Alonzo Mourning said to me, doesn't matter what he says, Marv, he still has to go out and do it.
All right, thank you, Jim. The officiating crew, Joe Crawford, Dan Crawford, and Jack Neese. Patrick Ewing will go against Alonzo Mourning on the opening tip.
Well, if body language and facial expression means anything, you can see it on the face of Patrick Ewing. He is ready, and so is his counterpart, Alonzo Mourning.
And the tip controlled by Chris Childs of the Knicks, being played by Tim Hardaway, and we are underway in this decisive 7th game. Oakley for Ewing, right at number 33 on that opening pass, and the Knicks with a 2-0 lead.
Well, no question that the Knicks would want to establish an inside presence for Patrick Ewing, but I didn't expect a lob pass first play, especially with the Knicks' propensity to turn it over.
Marley tried to go behind the back. Here's Oakley with the dive, but could not save it. And the Knicks have opened up defensively with Ewing facing Mourning. We have seen only shades of that with Jeff Van Gundy providing different looks, and very effectively providing different looks against Mourning.
And on that dive of the loose ball, Charles Oakley, and he's always on the floor, gave up some skin on that play.
Rashawn Leonard brushing off Allan Houston, and Houston with the block. Here's Childs, who comes off a strong game in New York on Friday. And a foul is called on Ewing. It's a loose ball foul.
Here's the perfect execution, the back hit on Alonzo Mourning, and the perfect pass up top over the rim where nobody can do a thing about it. Here's Patrick Ewing's record in 7 games. 2 and 3. You would expect him to shoot the ball better, but Patrick can give it to you so many different ways.
Mourning able to get down. So, Alonzo Mourning in Game 6, 10 of 18, 28 points, 9 rebounds, had his way, including that improbable 3-point shot. He'd hit only 1 3-pointer during the regular season. Mashburn comes out on the switch. Oakley was hot from the outside the other night, not able to hit here. And back comes Marley, one of the major factors in the Miami win on Friday. Mourning, Ewing to the rebound. The game is tied at 2 with 1.5 minutes gone by. Oakley with the pick, and a reach-in foul on Hardaway.
Well, so much is made of the matchup between Patrick Ewing and Alonzo Mourning. The truth of the matter is they rarely play one another. But in this case, because of suspensions, people not able to play, they are forced to watch each other. And you saw the nice move there by Mourning right over Patrick.
Although during the course of the regular season, you'll see the one-on-one matchup more frequently between these two who are jockeying for position. But the Knicks have fared well with combination of Charles Oakley and Buck Williams, and even Larry Johnson at times going up against Mourning. Off the head fake. Foul is called. That's the first on Mourning.
Well, on every possession for New York, they have run some kind of pick-and-roll play. They obviously have spotted something in the tapes where Miami not defending it well. But this makes Mourning have to move around a lot, and that's how you can draw fouls on him when he's out of position.
Ewing to the drop step. The Knicks 4, the Heat 2. Tim Hardaway, who has not shot well during this series, but is noted as a clutch performer. Won the game in Game 5 against against Orlando in that opening series that saw Miami squeak by after leading 2-0. Allan Houston. Chris Childs. Once again, the Heat go to the double. Morning with the steal of that pass from Childs, who did not turn it over at all on Friday night.
Now, Childs didn't take the ball low enough, but a quick defensive play by Mourning.
Beautiful spin by Hardaway, but could not convert as the help came. Knicks with the ball and a 4-2 lead. Houston. Allan Houston with a nice move, going right at Bashan Leonard.
Well, he has had his way with Bashan Leonard, who's about 6'4", but just does not play tall enough to bother Allan Houston, and he showed it there, just jumping over.
Alonzo Mourning got the step. And the Knicks now lead 6-4.
And it shows you Patrick Ewing not used to defending Mourning and not taking away his strong move into the lane. That's the second time Mourning has gotten there.
Well, Childs coughed it up again. Marley. Always hit from behind by Childs, but a good foul by Childs, not allowing Marley to put it down.
Alonzo Mourning getting the ball in his favorite spot. No pressure from Ewing. No body contact. And Mourning wasn't even feeling for it. Just took it on the hard step to the lane and beat him with the hook shot. Quick hands by Tim Hardaway, forcing the turnover, waiting for Marley to fill that lane. And Chris Childs taking a chance there on committing the hard foul. Very easily could have been flagrant if he had not gotten a piece of the ball.
And Matt, these are two clubs that will not allow a clear-cut layup. That has been the philosophy of Miami coach Pat Riley. Jeff Van Gundy, who was a longtime assistant under Pat, subscribing to the same theory. Chris Childs picked up that foul, his first. Patrick Ewing with an early foul. Alonzo Mourning has one. Charles Oakley replaced by Buck Williams. Now Charles right back at the scorer's table. And as Dan Marley shoots his second free throw, here's Ahmad.
All right, Mark, Charles Oakley just had a little blood on his elbow. He came over, they put a wristband over the elbow, and he's ready to go back in. Mark?
All right, thanks, Ahmad. Yes, Charles Oakley setting a speed record in getting repairs and headed back to the official score. Here's John Wallace getting inside, but not able to hit. Wallace, the rookie from Syracuse, in the starting lineup. As we mentioned earlier, started 6 games this season for Larry Johnson. Johnson sat out 5 because of injury, 1 due to suspension. Mashburn posting up. Miami leads 7-6.
And that's what Pat Riley has been waiting for from Jamal Mashburn ever since he joined the team, to show that kind of ability. His first possession, he just settled for a fadeaway jumper over Oakley.
Off the scale. 4-on-2 for the Heat. Leonard for 3. Kept alive in Mourning converts. Miami 9 and New York 6.
Well, Dan Marley did not get the offensive rebound, but he kept it alive as Ewing and Wallace made half-hearted efforts with one-hand grab.
Bad pass from Houston with Mourning fronting Ewing. Hardaway for 3.
So we'll be at the hotel watching, and all our, thoughts will go with them while they take the court. Well, it's going to be just like you're at home and you're watching, one of your favorite teams play. No question, I'm going to be pulling all the way from my teammates to go out there and play very well, which I know they're going to do. So it's going to be an animated room. I don't know, they probably going to have to close off the floor for us.
And P.J. Brown of Miami watching with his family here in Miami, watching at his home, making 12 consecutive points for the Miami Heat. Too late, 24-second violation.
Well, much as the Knicks have turnover problems in Game 6, they continue here. Here's one by Allan Houston. Chris Childs has the other three, and Childs unable to contain Tim Hardaway in the open floor as if anybody could on that kind of play.
The Knicks have turned it over 6 times. Open shot for Brawls. Miami Heat with a burst. The Knicks need another timeout. Miami with three-guard setup, but not as effective, obviously, without John Starks. Patrick Ewing. On the back tap, it comes to Childs. Just under 6 minutes left in this first quarter. Here's Houston for 3. And it carried out of bounds.
And so far, I'm sure Pat Riley's biggest fear, Alonzo Mourning getting into foul trouble, something he's done throughout his career, in particular this series. But so far, he has done a terrific job on Patrick Ewing. Nevertheless, the Knicks have to continue to pound the ball into Patrick.
Chant of let's go Heat. Marley with the step. Marley couldn't hit. Mourning lost the dribble off his foot. Always dangerous when Alonzo puts the ball on the floor. And Houston stripped. Good play by Hardaway.
Well, Allan Houston has it in his mind that he can just take it down to the baseline and jump over who's ever guarding him. That time he got double teamed, and I don't think he realized that he was being guarded by 2 men forcing that shot.
Miami 17 and New York 6. Ward for Mashburn off the box out. Mashburn for 3. Miami 7 of 14 from the field. The Knicks just 3 of 9 here at the start. Knicks have missed their last 4 shots. Oakley. A lot of one-on-one play now by the Knicks. Mashburn beat the Knicks down court. And Alonzo Mourning able to trot back to the offensive end. Mourning for 3. Unanswered by Miami. Alonzo Mourning, who hit a 3 in New York in Game 6, had only 1 3-pointer during the regular season, is able to do it again. And finally, the Knicks are able to score. Matt, I would think from the coaching point of view, and you've been in this position on a number of occasions, the key when you're trailing like this in the 7th and final game, particularly on the road, is not to panic.
Well, the biggest fear for Jeff Van Gundy was the emotion of this crowd and his team getting caught up in it. And so far they have, but the Miami Heat have used this crowd by playing good, smart basketball, and the Knicks are totally out of sync at the offensive end.
Well, Childs didn't see Oakley was wide open at the baseline. Here's Ewing with the rebound. It's now Miami 20 and New York 10.
But we've seen the uncharacteristic plays of some of the Knicks. Charles Oakley trying to post up. It's just not his game. He had that mentality in Game 6 in the 4th quarter where he tried to do too much. The Knicks just have to settle down. If they miss shots, then climb on the offensive board as Ewing did on that last play.
Mourning for the fadeaway. And the rebound handled by Leonard. Hardaway for 3. Well, Tim Hardaway relocating the touch. That's his second 3-pointer. He has 8 in all. 23-10, Miami. Oakley open. Charles hitting the jump shot at Madison Square Garden on Friday night. Not the case thus far today. Hardaway fouled, hacked by Ward.
Well, here's Alonzo Mourning as he did in Game 6, stepping out behind the line, hitting his second 3-pointer of this series. And Tim Hardaway, after this offensive rebound, spotting up as all of the Knicks defense compressed too late on Hardaway.
Timeout taken with 2:35 left.
Just get out with everybody, feel your way into the game. But John Wallace looked like he was running around in lead shoes, and clearly the decision backfired. The other choice was, of course, to go small, which is what they are right now. Charlie Ward, Childs, and Houston, which has been a successful lineup for New York, but it has yet to get on track.
Or one other possibility, starting Buck Williams, but he likes to have Buck coming off the bench for energy.
And with a big lineup like that, Buck Williams, Charles Oakley, and Patrick Ewing, just not enough quickness or mobility. You need some kind of presence at that small forward spot, especially going against Jamal Mashburn, who's a very poor defender.
Well, certainly this start by Miami a surprise. They've run off 18 straight points at one stretch in 5 minutes and 6 seconds. And the poor play by the Knicks continues. Turnover number 7. This is a problem throughout the season. They led the NBA in most turnovers. Look at that, 11 points off the 7 turnovers. Heat 24-10 over the Knicks with 2:11 to go in this first quarter. And a loose ball foul on Bashan Leonard.
And of course, Jeff Van Gundy's options have been clearly cut off with the absence of Larry Johnson and John Starks, his energizer, off the bench. A big loss, but that has been beaten to death because of those suspensions.
Isaac Austin on the floor for the first time. Illegal defense against Miami. That is their first violation.
Well, Patrick Ewing hates to be fronted on the post, and if there is good ball pressure, it makes that pass much, much tougher, although it's usually been P.J. Brown, who's not available for Miami, doing the fronting, and Alonzo Mourning on the weak side. It should be easier to get the ball in Ewing on the front.
Tim Hardaway so active in this first quarter, able to deflect it out of bounds. 17 on the shot clock. With the combination of Ward, Houston, and Childs, along with Ewing and Williams. Mourning able to reach for the rebound.
Tim Hardaway just had Charlie Ward all wrapped up. Charlie had given up his dribble right beyond the three-point line. Uncomfortable with a passing lane and uncomfortable taking the shot.
Miami in the midst of a 22-4 run. And the call away from the ball. It's against the Knicks.
Foul number 52, Buck Williams, his first.
It is on Williams. And for the Knicks, their first team foul the last 2 minutes. So Pat Riley has Mourning and Austin as his big men. Isaac Austin had an excellent game Friday night in New York. 7th and final game of this Eastern Conference semifinal series, all tied at 3. The winner goes on to face the defending NBA champion Chicago Bulls in the Eastern Conference final. Mourning feeling 3-point happy. Whoa!
And Pat Riley is furious. I'm sure he was happy when the first one went in, but not happy with that shot at all.
Buck Williams getting the roll. It's Miami 24, the Knicks 12. Well, Alonzo Mourning hit one the other night in Game 6. He's 1 of 2 from three-point range here in the first quarter. Mourning blocked by Ewing. Mourning on the recovery, foul. Alonzo Mourning, who certainly had his problems at the line, will shoot 2. Well, you can go online to NBCSports.com for the latest from the playoffs in anticipation of the NBA Draft Lottery. This week's poll question asked, which player do you think will have the biggest impact on the team that drafts him? Tim Duncan, Ron Mercer, Tim Thomas, Keith Van Horn, plus an in-depth look at the MVP credentials of Karl Malone and Michael Jordan. It's all at NBCSports.com. Charlie Ward was called on that foul, putting Alonzo Mourning at the line. Mourning 7 of 14 at the line in Game 6.
Well, you have to wonder what happened when Alonzo came into this league. That's an outstanding free throw percentage shooting for a big man, but it has gone downhill in the last couple of years at just 50% in this series.
25-12, Miami. First quarter down to a half-minute remaining. Charlie Ward to the left hand for a beautiful move.
Well, the Heat have been so conscious of keeping the Knicks on the perimeter, making them take those jump shots, and I'm sure Jeff Van Gundy has been saying to his team, if the jump shots aren't going, you've got to challenge the rim. You've got to take the ball to the basket. At least if we miss that, we have a good chance at a second shot opportunity.
And Miami using the clock. There is a 3-second differential between the 24 and the game clock. Willie Anderson, who just checked in, he's played an important role in this series. Isaac Austin coming up short. 24-second violation. And the Knicks will get it back. 3 7/10 seconds left in the quarter. Buck Williams loops it over to Patrick Ewing. Fires it up. So that's the end of the first. Miami at one stretch with 18 unanswered. And they lead the Knicks 25-14. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
Welcome back to Miami. I'm Jim Gray. Well, Pat Riley is a master motivator, and before the game, he told his Heat team the following. He invoked the name of Black Gold, a Mustang who ran the 1926 Derby. That horse led the entire race until the backstretch and went down. The horse tried to get up and keep running, but he couldn't make it. He said, guys, that horse didn't win, but he died trying, and that's the effort I expect today. Marv?
All right, Jim. Yes, Pat going back to his Kentucky roots with a horse reference. Miami, incidentally, 3-0 in the playoffs when facing elimination. They beat Orlando in Game 5 and started this series down 3-1 and 3-2, able to stave it off. Chris Childs opens up the second quarter, and the Heat now with a 25-16 lead. At one point, the Knicks led 3-1. And as you have been reminded on many an occasion, only 5 teams in NBA history have come back from a 3-1 deficit to win a best-of-7 playoff set.
Well, the Knicks are going to have to find some ways to score. They still have a jump shot mentality. The best way to score in this league is take the ball to the basket.
And Miami also in that jump shot mode. Childs with the spin and was fouled. Chris Childs hit down at that infamous area now around the right baseline where P.J. Brown and Charlie Ward came together last Wednesday night. Charlie Ward hearing it from the crowd as he stepped onto the court. Willie Anderson called for the foul. Here in Miami, people with the feeling that Ward was going for the knees of P.J. Brown. And in New York, people saying that no way that Charlie Ward would do that. It was strictly a box out. All depends on point of view. Patrick Ewing now getting a rest. He sits down. Let's check in with Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Marvin. If you can notice on the bottom of Chris Childs' shoes, he said that his teammates are not here, but they are certainly with him at heart. He has the names of John Starks, Larry Johnson, and Dante Jones on his shoes. That's just to show you how close a team this is, and they're still here together. Marv?
Yes, all 3 suspended. Dante Jones came off the bench, although not in uniform, though, in civilian clothes. And he also suspended for the rest of the playoffs, should there be the rest of the playoffs. Austin gets inside. That is his first field goal. And Miami leads by 10.
And that's got to be unacceptable to Jeff Van Gundy. Right now, with Mourning on the bench, not a lot of scoring threats on the floor, with the exception of Tim Hardaway for Miami, but then a mistake defensively to get around and give Isaac Austin that easy a layup. Unforgivable.
Isaac Austin did a terrific job during the regular season, filling in when Alonzo Mourning was injured. Shot clock down to 5. Mashburn switching off on Ward. Way off on that 3-point attempt. Bad sign for the Knicks also in that Charlie Ward is taking an unusual number of shots. Here's Mashburn. Ward has not played much. He's already pumped up 4. Perhaps trying to show that he can get himself back into it following the suspension. Here's Childs. And the Knicks continue to fail from the outside.
Well, with 2 point guards on the floor, neither of them able to get the Knicks into any kind of offense. And to this point, Charlie Ward has looked very tentative.
And Ward able to hit on that fast break attempt. So the Heat leads 29-19. Mashburn setting up off the dribble. On Oakland. Jamal Mashburn, a New York area product, with a gorgeous move. That's his 3rd field goal. He has 6. The Heat 31, the Knicks 19.
Well, normally Jamal Mashburn considered a small forward, a guy that plays on the wing, can post up. But right now, he's being guarded by New York Knicks power forwards. He has an advantage with his quickness.
Illegal defense. So the illegal defense against Miami. Alonzo Mourning making his way back in. A technical foul. Well, John Wallace has checked back in. He started the game, had some shaky moments on the defensive end. Wallace being guarded by Mashburn. Wallace fouled on the play. John Wallace is a major threat offensively during the course of the regular season, although he was spotted in terms of playing time, was able to come off the bench on a number of occasions and do the job at the offensive end. Willie Anderson was called for the foul, second.
Well, John Wallace is a very confident offensive player. He's got good moves around the basket. He finishes very well. However, it's understandable that a rookie would come out nervous in this game, despite the fact that he played in the NCAA final last year for Syracuse against Kentucky. That's a big game, but it's not like NBA playoff basketball. Where John Wallace really has his problems is concentration at the defensive end. That will be a summer project.
The Heat 31, the Knicks 22. John Crotty on the floor for the first time. Crotty and Anderson in the backcourt with Mourning, Mashburn, and Austin up front. Here's Mourning. Alonzo Mourning, who had an outstanding game at Madison Square Garden Friday night, has had an excellent first half. 5 of 10 from the field. He has 12 points along with 4 rebounds. 33-2 Miami. Wallace to the crossover. Nice move, but then rejected.
A very nice move by John Wallace, except that the little jump shot from about 4 inches away isn't going to get it done. That's when you have to either elevate and slam it down or at least take it to the other side of the rim to get some protection from the shot blockers. It looked like Mourning was out of the play, and he was, but terrific help by Isaac Austin coming over from the weak side.
Mashburn played by Wallace and rejected by Wallace. Jamal went to the fadeaway and was blocked. Here's Ward running the floor. Rebounded by Childs. And this time Ward passed up on the shot. And a poor pass thrown by Charlie Ward. Anderson. Buck Williams with the rebound. Crowd looking for a foul. And here comes Ward pushing it for Wallace, but it's overthrown.
Wow. Well, that's just a terrible decision on the part of Charlie Ward, who looks extremely nervous, tentative in all his moves, uncomfortable taking his shot. And with the turnover woes that the Knicks have had in this first half, 9 of them as a team, you just can't afford to make those kinds of attempted passes on a fast break play.
Charlie Ward looks like he's pressing. You don't want to read a guy's mind, but I'm sure he's feeling a degree of responsibility and maybe trying to make up for it here in the first half. 33-22 Miami. Ewing played by Austin. Rick Ewing coming up short, kept alive by Chris Childs. Childs for 3. Ewing on the foul, yes, and it counts.
Well, you can afford to take a bunch of jump shots if you're going to have Patrick Ewing and Charles Oakley, or in this case, Buck Williams around the
lotteries. Just ahead at halftime.
Patrick Ewing off to a good offensive start, 5 for 9 from the field, but also 4 offensive rebounds, and that's always a good sign for Patrick Ewing, not just relying on when he gets shots, but also trying to look for second shot opportunities off his teammates' misses.
And Matt, despite that burst by Miami at one point, 18 consecutive points, the Knicks only down by 8, and we're halfway through the second quarter. Hardaway just did beat the 24, and then deflected out by Mourning.
And Alonzo Mourning got away with one there as he jumped on and over the back of Buck Williams, who's arguing with referee Danny Crawford. Couldn't understand why he didn't get the call. Those are the kinds of fouls, the careless ones, that Alonzo picks up.
Good look by Ward, finding the cutting Ewing, and the Knicks are within 6. Miami has led by as many as 14.
And all of a sudden, the crowd has quieted dramatically from the way this first quarter started.
Now the chant of "Let's go Heat." Austin taking it to the hook. And a foul. Blocking foul on Buck Williams. Took the hit.
Patrick Ewing came into this game so alert, so aware. And that was a little eye contact with Charlie Ward to set that play up, and just getting his defensive man up on him. Patrick Ewing, a little jab step, and right to the basket. Finally missed his first playoff game the other night, something Patrick Ewing was completely astonished by. Didn't realize what he was doing as he meandered and wandered out on the floor as Buck Williams was trying to say, get back to the bench. But it's too late once you cross that line.
Yes, Patrick Ewing, Allan Houston, Charlie Ward, and P.J. Brown all sat out game 6 at the Garden on pass once again by Ward, but Houston rejected. And today, Larry Johnson and John Starks, along with P.J. Brown, sidelined by the suspension. Austin. Nice look from Hardaway.
Terrific ball move by the Heat that time. Set up by Alonzo Mourning, who made the easy pass off the dribble. That's when he generally will turn the ball over.
Miami leads by 9, just under 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Ewing from deep, yes. Patrick Ewing with 15. The Heat 36, the Knicks 29. Battle between Buck Williams and Alonzo Mourning. Hardaway. Ewing had the angle to cut him off, but did not want to pick up a cheap foul, so stepped aside.
Well, like Austin in the game, Patrick Ewing is enabled to not have to worry about Alonzo Mourning, at least initially, but he's always looking to help out because Buck Williams has the job of fronting Mourning. But Patrick Ewing actually fell asleep defensively here as he was way too far out. Now, again, he has to be legal defensively, but you have to have your knees bent at the foul line, ready to plug the lane as Jeff Van Gundy, and you can see the look on his face, and he wishes so bad that he could have either Larry Johnson or John Starks to put into this game.
Foul committed on Mourning, his second. Dan Marley is back. Allan Houston. Allan Houston off to a slow start, 1 of 6 from the field. And it'll be Miami ball. The Heat with Leonard, Hardaway, and Marley, along with Mashburn and Mourning.
Pat Riley calling a play here, a little action, a little double curl, but I think he wants to get the ball into the hands of Mourning against Ewing.
Here's the double on Mourning. Shot clock at 6. Marley, who's been on fire from three-point range. That's unforced and played well by Wallace. Did not make the contact, but came up close to prevent the good look.
Well, since the awful start by John Wallace, he has rebounded, not so much offensively, and I don't mean rebound getting missed shots. He has come back a little bit and has made 2 very good defensive plays.
3.5 remaining in the first half. 7th and deciding game between the Knicks and the Heat. And here is Wallace with his first field goal to bring the Knicks within 7. And Ward providing problems for Hardaway. Last touch by Hardaway, says Jack Neese.
And a good call by Jack Neese, who saw the play all the way. I don't know what Tim Hardaway is arguing about. John Wallace with a definitive move there. And look at the rotation on that basketball. Perfect have to guard Mourning.
The Heat 38, the Knicks 31. As we come up on 3 minutes to go in the first half. Allan Houston with a weak pass picked off by Mourning. Another Knick turnover. It will be Miami ball. The Knicks have turned it over 10 times. The Knicks also not getting offense from Allan Houston and Chris Childs. They've combined for a 2 for 10. Childs 1 of 4 and Houston 1 of 6. Marley. And Mourning foul. Charles Oakley called for his first. Last time the Knicks in Miami were here, Charles Oakley got involved verbally with Alonzo Mourning, and that may have contributed to a large measure for what followed between P.J. Brown and Charlie Ward.
Oh, that last particular play, Alonzo Mourning, and you could see why Jeff Van Gundy does not want Patrick Ewing guarding him, and vice versa, why Riley does not want Mourning on Ewing. Just Alonzo Mourning too quick for Patrick Ewing, and he knows that Patrick just can't get low enough, move those feet and ankles, and keep him from penetrating.
Alonzo Mourning has come up with a big first half. He's been challenged, particularly here in the media, in light of the huge contract that he received from the Miami Heat and the poor playoff performance last season. Just a couple of big games in the playoffs this year. Illegal defense called once again, and it's a technical foul. Allan Houston to the line. Well, a look ahead next weekend, Memorial Day weekend. 3 superb NBA playoff games coming your way on NBC. Next Saturday, NBA Showtime will kick things off, 3 o'clock Eastern, Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Michael Jordan and the Bulls will take on today's winner. And then on Sunday, Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals. Karl Malone and the Utah Jazz going up against Charles Barkley and the Houston Rockets. Rockets wrapping things yesterday against Seattle. Once again, Showtime will take the air at 3 p.m. Miami 40 and New York 32. 2:20 to go in this first half. Molly coming over to set a screen. Hardaway for 3. And a nice play by Ewing, lunging for that rebound. Charlie Ward gets the pick. Mourning switches off, frees up Ewing. Ewing putting moves on Matt. And then Mourning made the contact. Crowd looking for the foul on Ewing.
And a good nod call by the officials. It didn't affect the shot or the play.
Oh, what a move by Rashawn Leonard for his first field goal. Rashawn Leonard only 2 for 8 at the Garden in Game 6. Previous game, Game 5, had the hot hand at one point, hit 6 straight jump shots. 10-point Miami lead. Houston trying to drive it to the basket, but forcing the issue. Mourning fouled by Ward. The basket counts, and Mourning to the line.
Well, everybody plays Rashawn Leonard as a jump shooter, and he's a terrific three-point shooter, but just that little hesitation got Allan Houston to stand up straight, and Rashawn Leonard took care of the rest. And then Mourning getting out and beating everybody down the floor, and Charlie Ward committing the cardinal sin, not so much committing the foul, but letting Alonzo Mourning make the layup in the process.
And you wonder in his thought process if Charlie Ward did not want to get involved in another controversy.
I don't think there's any question. A lot of things are going through Charlie Ward's mind, and I think if the Knicks lose this game in this series, it'll be an anvil around his neck for a long, long time. If New York comes back and win this game, it'll be forgotten by about 7 o'clock tonight.
Traveling violation on John Wallace. In the past, Charlie Ward has played exceptionally well against the Miami Heat. Tough time in the first half. The Knicks have now turned it over 11 times, just under 1 minute remaining. In this first half, Miami leads by 12. Chant of "Let's Go Heat." Childs able to deflect it. It'll be Miami ball with 11 on the shot clock. But first, a 20-second time. The defending NBA champion Chicago Bulls. Game 1 Tuesday night in Chicago. They'll face a well-rested Chicago Bulls squad. And Hardaway will head to the line.
Big foul, number 1, Chris Childs.
Chris Childs called for his first. Pat Riley telling us yesterday after practice that he felt that Tim Hardaway really gained from the Orlando series by chasing around the speedy Darrell Armstrong of the Orlando Magic. Pat said with a laugh that it was a good warm-up for Tim.
Well, what he gained in that experience, he lost in a lot of fatigue. I think Tim Hardaway throughout this series has looked very winded, very fatigued, and at times looks like he has been running on fumes. And you can see the poor field goal percentage. But Tim is apt to fire up a 4 for 17 on any given game. But he is an absolute dangerous player coming down the stretch because he plays with absolutely no fear. He'll take any shot at any time.
Well, Miami has matched its biggest lead of the game, up by 14. 25 seconds remaining in the half. Ewing guarded by Austin. Now Marley over to help. Ewing gave it up. Childs trying to cover inside to Oakley. Another Knick turnover, leading to this. Last touch by Houston. Well, they say last touch by Wallace. It will be Miami ball with 6 seconds left in the half. Miami in the midst of another good run. They've outscored the Knicks 8-1 over the last minute and a half. Austin for Isaac Austin, not noted for his three-point dunk. And here's Allan Houston. Up Miami team, a charged up Miami crowd. San Antonio back in 1981. The Knicks have been a good come from behind team this year when it comes to double-digit deficits. The best effort in that department. Foul on Mourning. That is his third. The largest deficit the Knicks have been able to overcome was back on March 7th, down 20 in the second quarter to the Boston Celtics, and they came back to win it after trailing 65-45. We're talking a 61-win team in the Miami Heat, and we're talking under Game 7 conditions here.
But the reason why the Knicks are a good come-from-behind team is they play terrific defense. They force teams to take tough shots. They challenge them, and they're a good defensive rebounding team.
Just underway in the third. Oakley, yes. Charles Oakley with his first field goal.
Well, a big problem for the Knicks in the first half. They were unable to get the ball inside to Patrick Ewing. Patrick got most of his points on second shot opportunities. And if the ball goes inside to Ewing, it's going to cause the double team. That'll enable his teammates to get better shots.
Here's Leonard for three. Ewing on the box out. Ollie Ward starting the second half. Jeff Van Gundy started John Wallace right at the start of the game. Childs lost his balance, and the Knicks get a break. Last touch by Mourning.
Big break as Chris Childs, totally out of control, falling to the floor and rifles it off Alonzo Mourning instead of getting himself under control, and punched the ball inside to Patrick Ewing and try to get that fourth foul on Mourning.
Here's the double on Ewing, and he finds the open man. Charles Oakley with his second field goal. 49-36 Miami. Remember back in the first half at one point, Miami reeled off 18 straight. The Knicks were able to cut into that gap, though. Came within 7, and then Miami went on another run. Mourning stripped. Oakley showing some signs here at the start of the third quarter. A minute and 40 gone by. Houston with second effort. Allan Houston with his second field goal. Strong start.
On that last play, and all of Patrick's teammates had to pull him away.
Hardaway and Leonard in the backcourt. Mourning, Mashburn, and Marley on the front line. 2 minutes have been played in this third quarter. Mourning And the ball knocked away, recovered. Hardaway with the shot clock running down. Tim Hardaway. He has 15. Miami 51. New York 38.
Once again, set up on the pass on the move by Morning, something he has trouble with, but Hardaway making a good decision not to make the extra pass as soon as he saw the shot clock was down.
Ward sets it up for Ewing. Yes. The Knicks looking sharp here at the start of the third quarter. Miami up by 11. They have a 17-point lead at the half. Hardaway for three. Hustle, rebound, handled by Leonard. And they'll reset. Mashburn played tightly by Oakley. They isolate. Mashburn on Oakley. And Mashburn forced it. Played well by Oakley. And Morning called for the foul. Not a smart foul by Alonzo Mourning. Chasing Charlie Ward to the baseline after Ward had taken possession, and that is costly. That's number 4 on Mourning.
Well, Alonzo Mourning was under such control in the first half, not even close to any careless fouls of that nature. And then to start the third quarter, the one that he has picked up the most, setting that pick at around the high elbow, top of the key area, stepping out unnecessarily there, and absolutely no chance to get that ball there. Just a poor play on the part of Alonzo Mourning there, and that generally puts his team in a hole.
That's been the pattern with Mourning, and now the Knicks will look to take advantage. Patrick Ewing cuts it to a 9-point lead. The Knicks have hit their first 5 shots in this third quarter. Miami 51. The Knicks 42. Ball knocked away from Hardaway. Last touch by the Knicks.
Well, Patrick Ewing on the move as Ike Austin going out to try to pick up on that pick and roll situation. And once again, the Heat not covering up in the lane and protecting.
Austin did a good job. He ate 8 points the last 9 minutes of the second quarter. And it's beginning to get testy as Childs was called for the foul on Leonard. That's 3 on Childs. The Knicks with their first team foul. Knicks have outscored the Heat here in the third, 10-2 off the 5-for-5 shooting.
Well, it looks like the Heat wants to go to Vashawn Leonard right now against Childs, but I think they got a mismatch with Jamal Mashburn against Oakley. He has too much quickness for Oakley, who's a good inside defender.
Austin again. Isaac Austin is hitting 4 or 5 from the field. He has 10 points. Isaac Austin, winner of the NBA's Most Improved Player Award in his 4th season from Arizona State. Oakley feeling it. Rebounded by Marley. Miami with the ball. They lead by 11. Marley gets it out to Leonard. He was trapped along the baseline. Shot clock is down to 6 for John Leonard. Oh, Oakley got a piece of it to keep it alive.
To the Knicks in this third quarter is this. Get the ball inside to Ewing.
And Ewing goes right at Austin. Patrick Ewing has had an exceptional ball game. He now has 21, and the Miami lead is down to 9. 5 minutes gone by in the third. Marley is open. Childs with the rebound and fouled by Austin.
Well, we talk about the loss of Starks and Johnson today, but this is where the Knicks missed P.J. Brown, who was an 18-foot jump shot.
3 for 3 for Ewing in this third quarter. Knicks have come out, hit 6 of 7 from the field. Not that time, though. Miami just 2 of 8 here at the start of the third. The Heat up by 9. Mashburn posting. Oh, Oakley with the steal and called for time. What a play by Charles Oakley. Took the 20 on the steal. Oakley with his hustle, his diving on the floor, controlled the game.
And he also thought Charles Oakley started the whole problems at the end of Game 5.
Well, the next game right back. Child stepped out. Turnover number 13 committed by the Knicks. The Heat 53 and the Knicks 44 as we come up on 6 minutes left in the third.
Well, the Knicks have something good going with Ewing right now, but they can't forget Allan Houston. They're going to need his scoring.
Bad pass picked off again by the Knicks. Ewing. Marley with the rebound. Miami led by 17 at the half. In the first half, at one point, they reeled off 18 unanswered. Hardaway. And the Heat leads 55-44. Very strong all-around performance by Tim Hardaway. He now has 17, along with 5 assists. Allan Houston for 3. Allan Houston with his first three-pointer. And the Knicks will look for Houston to get going. The Heat up by 8.
And Jeff Van Gundy called that play from the sideline. He realizes that it can't be Ewing every time down the floor. Allan Houston so important with the absence of Johnson and Stokes.
Ward able to tip it to Ewing. Just under 5 minutes left in the third. Marley moves up on Houston. Houston off the dribble, fired up the air ball.
Somebody opened up a door there as the wind came in and took that one way off.
Well, the Knick guards effectively going to the boards. Chris Childs able to handle it. Calls for time. 4:40 remaining in the third quarter. Marv Albert, Matt Gukas, Ahmad Rashad, and Jim Gray from South Florida. Shot clock is down to 5. Ward passed on the shot. And here's Ewing. Will it count? No. It went over the top of the backboard and deflected in.
Well, actually, it could hit the top of the backboard and still go in. But what happens is it hits the shot clock, and that automatically is a violation. There it is as Patrick Ewing, shot clock down at 1. We're going to go straight up in the air and hit that shot clock.
So the Heat by 8. Leonard, along with Hardaway, Marley, Austin, and Mashburn. Morning on the bench after picking up a 4th foul. Hardaway again, that's a 3. 20 points for Tim Hardaway.
And not that that was not a very difficult shot under good defensive pressure by Charlie Ward, but Jeff Van Gundy has to be very much concerned right now with Charlie Ward guarding Hardaway, with Tim being the most dangerous player on the floor for Miami.
Ewing coughed it up. He got the position, then lost it. Leonard, who's been quiet, only 1 of 6. Austin has had another strong game, banking his way on Ewing. And then forces Oakley with the rebound.
Well, no double team there as the Knicks let Patrick Ewing just force Austin in a tough shot.
Hardaway took it away from Childs. Hardaway. Careless ball handling by Chris Childs. Turnovers have killed the Knicks here this afternoon. Down to 3 minutes remaining in the third. And the call, last touch by Miami. Buck Williams now checking in for Patrick Ewing. 15 turnovers committed by the Knicks. This a major problem throughout the season.
Well, they average 18, worst in the league, but you just go another one. They just can't afford these kind of mistakes, and many of them are unforced, and they're coming from their supposed ball handlers. Guys that are supposed to be able to get the ball where they need to, supposed to be able to make the passes that they have to, and they're not doing it.
And now Tim Hardaway turned it over. Pat Riley very upset, trying to settle Hardaway down.
You know, the Knicks are just in a hurry to try to do everything, want to do things by themselves and not concerned about just getting themselves under control. And you could see it. Allan Houston wasn't even looking at the ball. He already had in his mind the move he was going to make and try to think about the shot he was going to take instead of making sure he had the ball first.
Buck Williams. Crowd wanted to travel. Foul is called on Jamal Mashburn. Well, when Hardaway gave it right back to the Knicks after the Knicks turnover, Riley just looked away. Hardaway. Oh, you see what happened there?
Yes, I did.
My fault.
Now, the thing that we don't know is he's saying, my fault for yelling at you about the turnover, but I don't think that was it. I think Tim was going into the front court, had in his mind what he wanted to run. Riley trying to call the play, which was from behind him, and he distracted him with that. And that happens so often when players have to look to the bench.
Heat up by 12. 2.5 remaining in the third quarter, and Hardaway has been the key here in the third. 9 of Miami's 11 points have been scored by Hardaway in this third quarter. He can take over a ball game. Fires again. 25 for Tim Hardaway. 15-point Miami lead. 2 minutes to go in the third. Childs with the shot clock running down. Rejected by Austin. Fast break. Leonard with the pull-up. Changed his mind. Good play to get it to Mashburn. And the Knicks calls for the foul.
Well, no way of telling, but Pat Riley saying, I'm sorry to Hardaway, my fault. He didn't say, I'm sorry. He said, my fault. That almost empowers a player and builds his confidence up, saying, hey, don't worry about that turnover. I'll take the heat for that. You keep playing, and you can see Tim Hardaway, although this guy very rarely ever loses any confidence.
Jamal Mashburn at the line for the first time. A 9-1 run by Miami. 8 of the 9 scored by Hardaway. 12 points for Hardaway in this third quarter alone. 12 of his 25. 65-48 Miami. They have a 17-point lead back. They led by 17 at the half. Of defense. Williams set up by Patrick Ewing. Miami leads 65-50.
It has been the only good set play for the Knicks. Just dump the ball into the post to Patrick Ewing, wait for the Heat to make a mistake, and every time it's happened, New York has gotten an excellent high percentage shot.
Hardaway for 3. Has given the Heat an 18-point lead. He has 28. Houston for 3. Way off. Hardaway for 3. An extraordinary show being put up by Tim Hardaway. Charlie Ward. 71-52 Miami. Hardaway with 18 of his 31 in the third, and the crowd wants him to shoot again. Austin with the pick. Hardaway does shoot, and this time slightly off. Houston with the save, finding Ewing. Good look by Houston, and the Heat up now 71-54. Tim Hardaway now 6 of 9 from three-point range. 18 of his 31 in the third. Hardaway lost it. And Ward comes up short as this third quarter concludes. One of these spectacular third quarter performances in playoff history. Tim Hardaway with 18 of the Heat's 22 in the third. 6 of 9 overall from downtown. He has 31 in all.
Well, normally Tim Hardaway saves this for late in the fourth quarter. He has started early in this game number 7 as Mourning ecstatic on the bench. He had the most points in the game. He said the thing that is stuck in his craw all these years is that he didn't win that game. He said, today, this is a good feeling for me today, and I'm going to win the game this time. Marv?
All right, thank you, Jim. Tim Hardaway, who did not shoot well during the course of the playoffs, taking over this game in the third quarter. He has scored 16 of Miami's last 18 points. Patrick Ewing now has 25 as his fourth quarter gets underway, and the Heat up 71-56. Buck Williams playing Jamal Mashburn very effectively. Last touch by Mashburn.
Well, the Knicks did a good job of keeping the ball out of the hands of Tim Hardaway, finally, and Chris Childs, in effect, face guarding him, not letting him touch the ball.
Houston trying to get it to Williams. The Knicks' hope, aside from Patrick Ewing, is that Allan Houston can catch fire, and they are trying to set things up for Houston, but Miami has played him well. Houston has not shot well. 3 of 13 from the field. Rashawn Leonard for 3. Rashawn Leonard with only his second field goal. Miami with a 74-56 advantage.
Well, the Knicks have committed their fair share of careless turnovers and then degree of difficulty turnovers. They are reinventing the staff.
And the Knicks just 1 of 10 from three-point range, make it 1 of 11. Trying to shoot their way back into it from three-point territory. Foul is called. That's 3 on Isaac Austin.
Well, an extraordinary third quarter performance by Tim Hardaway. 7 for 10 from the field. You see the 4 three-pointers, and for a while there he had his way with Charlie Ward taking him to the basket.
Ewing off a double team, had it kicked out by Leonard. The Knicks get a new 24. Tim Hardaway has etched his way into NBA playoff lore with that performance in the third quarter, accounting for 18 of Miami's 22 points in the third. Houston for 3. Allan Houston. And the Knicks now trail by 15 points. Miami opening this game with a burst, an 18-0 run at one stretch in the first quarter, led by as many as 14 in the first, led by 17 at halftime. Austin. Good box out again by Childs. Ewing double teamed and fouled. Marley and Mashburn collapsing on Ewing. Foul on Marley. His first timeout is called for.
Inching their way back into the game, Pat Riley kept longingly looking up at the clock, wanting it to go faster before he could get morning in the game. Little did he know at that time that Tim Hardaway was going to erupt.
And showing some signs. 14 points for Houston, who has not shot well. 1 of 9 in the first half, now 5 for 15. Miami leading 74-61 when Alonzo Mourning left with that fourth foul. Miami was up by 11. They now lead by 13. Here's Mourning. Alonzo Mourning with 18.
Good defense by Patrick Ewing. Took away the middle this time, something he had problems with early in the first quarter, and then a very difficult shot by Mourning.
Ewing gives it back out. Houston for 3. Allan Houston looking to pull a Tim Hardaway. It's down to a 12-point Miami lead.
Well, as you would expect, the body language of the Knicks when they were down 17, down 15, they look like a beaten team. But really, their object should be to try to get this thing with around 10 points. 6 minutes to go.
Mashburn knocks down a 3. Miami 11 of 23 from downtown. 79-64 Miami. Dan Marley is the man defending on Allan Houston. Now Rashawn Leonard switches off. Shot clock out of 3. Houston. And Hardaway able to handle. Hardaway finding the rim. It has been a best performance by Jim Hardaway. 33 points. That basket leading to a Knicks timeout. Finals. Only 5 teams in the history of the NBA have come back from a 3-1 deficit to win a best-of-7 playoff series. Miami trying to make it 60. Ewing lost it. And Mourning thought he was fouled, thought he was hit from behind by Ewing, and has a valid point. 7:20 remaining in this fourth quarter. And a reach-in on Childs, and the refs on Leonard. So that's 4 on Childs, being guided aside by Knicks coach Jeff Van Gundy.
Well, the Knicks have brought a lot of these problems on themselves with 17 turnovers as we look at the comparisons between Chris Childs and Hardaway. But you also have to credit Miami's defense. It has been very sticky much of the day.
Oakley on the box out. So Oakley and Ewing are the big men with the 3 guards. Childs rejected by Mourning. Childs, Houston, and Ward in a 3-guard setup. Alonzo Mourning with his 3rd blocked shot. Miami by 17. 6:45 remaining in the fourth quarter. Leonard for 3. And Houston coughed it up. Another Knicks turnover. 2-on-1, and Marley was fouled by Ward. That was turnover number 18 by the Knicks.
Well, the Knicks have the best field goal percentage against defensively during the regular season. The Miami Heat are number 2 in the league and right around 43%, which is what the Knicks are shooting today, mainly because Alonzo Mourning does a lot of that, protecting inside. You see where he leads with the shot blockers. John Thompson watching his 2 former centers at Georgetown, Patrick Ewing and Alonzo Mourning.
Dan Marley, very important player in this series. In 2 games has provided a major lift. Such a big game player. In his first year with Miami, after a 1-season stint in Cleveland, distinguished career with the Phoenix Suns. He's had much playoff experience. And a foul called a reach-in foul. It's on Mourning. That's number 5. Alonzo Mourning with his 5th foul. Here comes Isaac Austin.
You know, follow up on your point about Dan Marley. The irony there is he was totally ineffective in the first 3 games of this series. An afterthought, getting in with 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter in game 4. And now he's a starter due to the absence of P.J. Brown.
Patrick Ewing with 27 points. Pat Riley said he made a mistake. Should have been playing Marley more frequently. Dan Marley enjoyed that comment.
That's another one of those my fault, but he had good reasons for not playing Marley. He was ineffective with his shot and not very quick defensively.
And the foul. Oh, Chris Childs just booted the ball to the crowd. Not a smart move, which has been part of the credo of this Knicks team, and it's a technical foul on Childs.
And Patrick Ewing, as one of the captains and the leaders, very quietly and calmly going over to Chris Childs and trying to calm him down. Now, if that were John Starks, I'm sure Patrick Ewing would be going over in a totally different fashion, mainly because those two have known each other many times. There's Childs with the little boot up into the stands, and Joe Crawford nailing him with the technical.
Both teams with 3 team fouls. Rashawn Leonard at the line. Leonard in his 2nd year out of Minnesota. He's been a huge surprise. Last season as a rookie, appeared in 30 games, signed out of the CBA. Originally a 2nd-round draft pick of Milwaukee back in '94, but elected to return to school at the University of Minnesota for a senior season and finished as the Gophers' all-time leading scorer. This year emerged as a starter and an important player for Pat Riley. 85-66 Miami with 5.5 remaining in the fourth. Here's Ward. Hard foul on Charlie Ward. Might be a flagrant. Let's see.
Flagrant foul.
It is a flagrant foul. Matt, was that a payback?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I think they were going to try to block the shot, but Charlie Ward up in the air gets his feet out from under him. Although, wait a minute now, Jamal Mashburn, a little bit different there. Coming in from that angle, he did not even really leave his feet to try to block that shot. He wanted to make sure he committed the hard foul on the body, and that it was a flagrant foul.
Might have been one of those fouls. Jamal Mashburn whispering the name P.J. Brown in the ear of Charlie Ward.
But it's amazing to me, Marv, we see the lack of poise, the lack of control after what happened at the end of Game 5 down here. Now we see Chris Childs kicking the ball. We saw what happened in the Houston-Seattle series. And really no need for the Heat to get involved with anything like this.
Nice backdoor pass from Ward. Allan Houston come out of the second half after the poor shooting first half. 85-69 Miami. The Chicago Bulls waiting in the wings for the winner here. A well-rested Chicago Bulls team.
And I read where Scottie Pippen said, we want the Knicks, or at least he did. I don't know if he was speaking for everybody there. Patrick Ewing with authority hammers that one home. Because of the animosity, because of the rivalry that's been built up over with New York and Chicago over the years. But I don't think Scottie Pippen and the Bulls have a chance of seeing New York next week.
Timeout called, 4:46 remaining in the fourth quarter. You are watching the NBA on NBC. Spurs coming up with the #1 pick. They had only a 21% chance of getting that top pick. Spurs #1, 76ers 2, and the Boston Celtics 3. The Celtics end up with 3 and 6.
Well, I'm sure Rick Pitino and the Celtic organization and fans expected to come out of the lottery much better than that.
Morning off the fake on John Wallace back on the floor. And Ewing able to get to it. A Miami Heat ball club that came out with a burst in the first quarter. 18 unanswered. At one juncture, Ewing is fouled. And Tim Hardaway helped to break it open in the third quarter with a sensational performance. This is a game that has the Knicks playing without two of their major players, Larry Johnson and John Starks. P.J. Brown sitting out for Miami. Could the Knicks have done anything differently today as you look at the approach of Jeff Van Gundy?
Well, I'm sure Jeff is going to second guess himself for those starting John Wallace, thinking at all the good intentions of what that would do for John as a rookie, starting instead of coming off the bench. But it was clear that starting the third quarter with Charlie Ward, it was a much better fit, as the Knicks have been a better team with their small lineup for much of this season. Not as a starting unit, but throughout the game. That was a big factor, but also the crowd, the emotion that the Miami Heat came out with just overwhelmed the Knicks early, and then the body language and the emotions just turned off for New York.
And a foul. Jack Neese, the outside official, calling on Charles Oakley. For Oakley, his second. Charles Oakley, not the usual strong game that Knick fans have seen, particularly off the last couple of games. Charles only 2 of 6 from the field, just 4 rebounds.
And even though Patrick Ewing has had a big scoring game, 31 points, I think the inability of New York to get the ball inside to him in the first half didn't enable his teammates to get involved. He could draw the double teams and then get guys like Allan Houston, Childs, Oakley some open shots. But it's Pat Riley's theory as well. If we give up points to Ewing, shut down the other people, we'll have a better chance.
First ball foul on Allan Houston. And now both teams are over the foul limit. Down to 3:49 remaining in the fourth quarter. Miami up by 12. If the Knicks are are beaten here today, and it will take a dramatic turn here in the final minutes. The Knicks would be eliminated in the second round of the playoffs for the third consecutive season. Particularly disappointing in light of the high-priced acquisitions of Larry Johnson and Allan Houston and Chris Child.
But you know, Marv, what will be kind of a pass is the fact of the suspensions and losing the key players in these last two games, especially going back to Game 6 to New York.
14-point Miami lead. Ewing. Nice move by Patrick Ewing. He has 33. 87-75. Knicks showing pressure. Handled by the Heat. Austin hesitated as he saw Ewing.
And the crowd groans, but I thought that was a smart play by Isaac Austin. The clock is the ally in Miami right now. They need to chew it up.
Austin. Wallace with the rebound. Coming up on 3 minutes to go in the fourth. Houston. It is down to 9. Again, the pressure by the Knicks. And a foul. The Knicks over the limit. Wallace picks it up. Miami has led by as many as 21. And with 2:51 to go in this fourth quarter, that Heat lead is now at 9.
And you saw the disgusted look on the face of Jeff Van Gundy at that foul. And I was wondering why, because I thought the man that was fouled was Alonzo Mourning. That's the man the Knicks want to put on the free throw line, being just a 50% foul shooter, not Tim Hardaway, an excellent foul shooter.
Hardaway at 80%. Austin hears it from the crowd. He had an important stretch at the end of the second quarter. He's played very well in this series. Isaac Austin with 10 points. The Heat leading 88-78. And the Knicks call for time with 2:50 to go in the fourth. And this odyssey right now with 2 minutes, 45 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The steal by Leonard. Chalk up another Knick turnover. Number 19. Ward trying to get it back. And a foul called on Wallace.
I'm a little surprised at that last play by the New York Knicks coming out of that timeout. Jeff Van Gundy throughout all the playoffs has been really sharp on getting good plays. That's a type of play that the Knicks started this game with, a back pick for Ewing and a lob. But with the way that the Knicks have handled the basketball in this game, you don't want to be making dangerous passes like that. Now, being down 10, 2:50 to go in this fourth quarter, it's now down to 2.5 minutes. You don't have to be necessarily flinging up three-point shot. There's the back pick. And poor decision on the pass. Patrick was covered. Miami saw the play coming all the way. You don't have to take a three every time, but it certainly has to be a good option off penetration.
Tim Hardaway has 36 points. Knicks with 2 timeouts left. The Heat with 3, and a bad decision by Charles Oakley. Just a careless pass for turnover number 20.
Leading to 26 points. It has been a huge problem, and also another big factor throughout all this series. 3-point shooting in Miami has been outstanding.
Matt, what we've seen here today, and the Knicks handicapped this morning, trying to throw back outside, and Johnny Walker, 2 minutes to go in this fourth quarter, gets it to Charles Oakley. 90-80 the score. Miami on top. What we've seen here today, the Knicks without John Starks and Larry Johnson, but Miami without P.J. Brown. We're seeing the worst of the Knicks when they have their down periods during the regular season. A regular season that produced 57 wins, third best record in franchise history, but it was an uneven performance despite the 57 victories. Wallace again on the foul. They did finish strong, you recall. Ended up second in the Atlantic, 4 games behind Miami. And then whipped by Charlotte in the first round, a Charlotte team that was hit by injuries to key players. And then involved in this tough series, grueling series with Miami. It hasn't been the best of basketball, and obviously it became fiery off developments here last Wednesday night. But here's a Miami team that won a franchise record 61 during the regular season. Had difficulties. Knick ball as we resume. Childs off the screen, set up beautifully for the three. Chris Childs from downtown. Miami 92, New York 83.
And what the Knicks should be thinking here, although not a lot of time there, not a lot of time left in this game, but Charlie Ward fouling a good foul shooter in Dan Marley. But any time Alonzo Mourning touches the basketball, the Knicks should be thinking of fouling him immediately. Alonzo just awful from the line throughout this season.
Dan Marley, though, during the regular season, 68% from the free throw line. See Mourning 3 of 5 this afternoon. 1:27 to go in this fourth quarter. Harley missing on both. And he's 4 made at the line. So the Knicks will try to get a quick basket here. Ewing puts the move on Mourning. Patrick Ewing with 35, and the Heat up by 7. Foul is given by Childs with 1:12 remaining. That's 5 on Childs. The closest the Knicks have been in the second half prior to this point was 8. With about 4.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. They cut it to 55-47 after that 17-point lead at the half. So they have it down to 7. This the closest the Knicks have been since it was 38-31. Hardaway 6 of 8 at the line, but a good free throw shooter. 80% free throw shooter, Tim Hardaway.
Well, the Knicks with only 1 timeout left. Jeff Van Gundy took that little break to bring over his 3 guards, Charlie Ward, Chris Childs, and Allan Houston, to give them instructions for this next possession. Got to be thinking three-pointer again.
Tim Hardaway with a playoff career high of 38 points, 25. Able to work their way back into it, at least cosmetically, here in the fourth quarter. They've hit 12 of 16. They've outscored the Heat 31-23 to cut into what once was a 17-point lead. It is now down to 7 with 1:06 to go. And let's see. Delay of game called on the Knicks.
As Jamal Mashburn running the baseline, which you're permitted to do after a made basket, and Patrick Ewing stepping over the end line for the delay.
And again a whistle. Jack Nice with the call on Charlie Ward. That is his 6th. So Ward is fouled out. 7 points, 8 assists for Charlie Ward. Charlie Ward at one time very popular figure in this area, certainly in the state of Florida, for his football feats at Florida State. Winner of the Heisman Trophy at Florida State. Quarterbacked the Seminoles to the national championship back in '93, and emerged as a key figure in this series because of the incidents of the melee that took place here last Wednesday night.
Well, this man, Vashawn Leonard, at the foul line, really came up with the 2 clinching 2 points from the free throw line in Game 6 as the Knicks closed to within 3 at 93-90 on a John Starks three-pointer. He is an excellent foul shooter.
Miami now 24 of 33 at the line, 73%. They have spent much time at the line. Knicks have taken only 13 free throws. 96-87, Miami, 1 minute remaining. Childs blocked by Mourning. Scott Brooks came on for Charlie Ward, got entangled with Alonzo Mourning. And a foul at the other end of the court committed by Allan Houston.
Well, Alonzo Mourning protecting the basket, and he has done much of this game, getting up very quickly to knock that loose, and the Knicks scrambling to try to foul Mourning here as 3 players rush at him. He realizes that and quickly got rid of the ball. They actually did foul him, but the referee, Jack Neese, let it go.
Rashawn Leonard is 7 for 7 at the line. Leonard with 10 of his 12 points here in the 4th quarter. So for Pat Riley, his 10th career Game 7. And looking to make it 6 wins, 6 up, 4 down in Game 7 scenarios. Mourning with the rebound and a foul. Charles Oakley and Alonzo Mourning going for that loose ball conversation between Hardaway and Oakley. And the Miami Heat clearly on their way to uncharted territory. The Eastern Conference Final with the Chicago Bulls. They split the season series, as you see, at 2-2. Michael Jordan with a 50-point game in that first meeting, but Miami plays Chicago well. Alonzo Mourning back at the line. Last season, you recall, the Bulls roared right through Miami in the playoffs. Game 1 Tuesday in Chicago. Game 2 Thursday. Our NBC coverage will begin next Saturday afternoon. We'll pick it up with Game 3 and take it the rest of the way. We're down to 40 seconds to go in this 4th quarter. Scott Brooks. Ewing backs to 3-point territory. Alonzo Mourning and Charles Oakley hit the deck. And Charles Oakley and Alonzo Mourning actually showing some compassion for each other for the first time this series.
Well, clearly just Charles Oakley realizing that Mourning had that rebound all to himself, just coming in, making sure that he fouled him to put the poor free throw shooter on the line. Now, Miami did win a game in Chicago on the last closing seconds 3-pointer by Dan Marley. And as much as the Bulls may have been looking forward to a series against their arch rivals, the New York Knicks, I think part of them have to be happy in the sense that the Miami Heat do not have the power and strength inside that the Knicks have when they are at full strength, have all their players, and that's the one area where Chicago could get hurt on the offensive boards. Miami, not a good offensive rebounding team.
Dan Marley hearing it from the crowd as he heads back to the bench. Tim Hardaway receiving a standing ovation, replaced by John Crotty. Playoff career high 38 for Hardaway. And what a performance for Patrick Ewing. He sat down with 37 but could not do it by himself. Allan Houston turning it in the second half, but a very poor shooting first half, which hurt. 1 of 9 from the field. 10-point Miami lead. And now Oakley fouls Mourning just to stop the clock with 16 and 7/10 seconds remaining. Well, in New York and Chicago, there was so much anticipation about the possibility of a Knick Bull Eastern Conference Final Series. It will not happen. It will be Chicago and Miami beginning at the United Center on Tuesday.
Well, the Knicks had their chances coming down here in Game 5, but just played a very poor game to a very good game by the Miami Heat. And then the problem at the end of the game basically ruined New York's chance to win this series in Game 6 back at Madison Square Garden.
And although he will not admit it, what satisfaction on the part of Pat Riley in knocking off this New York Knicks franchise, his former team. John Crotty running the clock out. It is all over. Standing ovation for the Miami Heat. They have become the 6th team of the history of the NBA to come back from a 3-1 deficit to win a playoff series. They do it by taking 3 in a row and knock off the Knicks 101-90. Nice gesture by several of the New York Knicks going over to the Miami bench to shake hands. Let's check in with Ahmad with Tim Hardaway.
All right, thanks, Mark.